Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Norm, the Cheers podcast that isn't. We've come back from our summer vacation. I was in Canada. Dave was on the Cape. Tookie was on the Red Line.
Yeah, it was.
It
wasn't on fire.
It is one of the very unusual times where Dave and I traveled and Tookie did not. I don't quite know what to do with it. Usually Dave and I are just talking about, what we saw at Patriot Place movie theater, and Tookie's like, and here's what Stad is like.
Maybe our old man sort of sludginess is starting to affect Tookie, and her devil may care joie de vivre is insinuating our old bones.
Old man sloth is far more contagious than monkeypox.
No, I'm an honorary dad now.
Phone.
But you guys, I'm an honorary dad now.
You are.
We've established this.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Your mustache will arrive in the mail shortly.
Oh, good.
You got your New Balance on?
No, I've got on slippers today, but
In the house.
No, but I've got a pair of cargo pants from the Gap in my cart as well.
Hell yes.
Cargo chinos, I should specify.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. No, I'm a dad. I'm an honorary dad. It's great.
It's great to have you here. I would love it if, accidentally a family member of yours watches this every once in a while and misunderstands this, and the wrong rumors get back to the parents. I'm imagining just the most delightful game of telephone that would make me so happy.
I think one relative does watch this. I think he's in on the joke. I hope he's in on the joke.
It's not a joke. Pass it along, cousin.
Someone's probably not in on the joke, and I'm going to get a phone call.
Yep. Oh, record it, please.
It's all
don't have them play any music. We'll need to get clearance.
Noted.
Thank you. All right, Dave, how was the Cape? Did you have fun? Any shark sightings?
We did get I don't want to say locked off the beach. They closed the beach to swimming for about 2 hours while boats and a plane tracked two up. Yep, never fails. Mail comes.
You talk about sharks. That dog is ready to fight.
Oh, okay.
Something secret's going on with Dave. Uh-oh. Like an animal rights activist is there. Is like, listen, you're spreading false information about the danger of sharks. And if you could please do something about that, we would appreciate it.
But sorry, didn't we?
My mail carrier asked me a question through the open window. So
nice.
I don't ever want to be rude to my mail carrier because she's a lovely human.
Oh.
Never. Postal workers are doing God's work.
Tip your postal people on Christmas.
But yeah, we did have a closed beach for about 2.5 hours, which was kind of fun because the entire beach, people just kept kind of following the boats up and down the shoreline, as the boat sort of tracked these couple of sharks, as they sort of just kind of hovered around and then swam off. Yeah, it was exciting, but didn't feel especially bloodthirsty.
Oh, well, what's a shark sighting without a little gore?
Yeah. It's not as exciting as we were hoping for.
No, we've really moved from sort of a Jaws era to a let's peacefully coexist era.
Yeah.
The sharks are getting soft.
They really are. These sharks have become such snowflakes.
Yeah, sharks out there being cucks.
Hey, what's that one shark looking at?
Yeah. Maim a local or get out, right?
Super uncomfortable. Just watching that other shark eat that seal. This is weird.
Is Finn sell anything?
It should be now. Copyright that. That's merch.
Hashtag Finn sell, our first t-shirt.
Oh,
It'll be on Twitter before the end of the day.
yes. Okay, semi-exciting thing I did. I tried the hot dog straw method,
Oh,
and
nice.
I regretted all of my life choices.
I would hope.
What beverage did you drink through the hot dog straw?
A Sapporo.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That seems like the best possible choice.
I tried to do it right because I'm the carnivore of the house,
Mhm.
and we have some nice like Angus dogs, right?
Mm.
So I made a channel through Angus dog and sipped a Sapporo through it, and thinking that, oh, this is a fancy alternative to a ballpark Frank and a Miller Lite or something.
Mm-hmm.
Still terrible. Still terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Do not recommend.
As much as I admired the ingenuity of that person, like, yeah, like the juices are gonna mix. I don't feel like that's gonna go down well. Like, you don't want to drink that.
It was not a good time.
No.
I mean, just the concept of beer through a straw is frankly unpleasant to think about for me. Like, it just seems like you're getting way too much oxygen in there.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
I consume them separately. So I still enjoyed nice Sapporo, and I still enjoyed a good hot dog separately.
So the brief mixing did not spoil them separately. Like the
No.
the Sapporo was still good afterwards,
Yes.
and the hot dog was not spoiled. I assumed the hot dog was okay, but I was wondering about more the beer.
No, the beer turned out it was fine. It was fine. I was
Good.
still able to, yeah. I was still able to enjoy my beer like the dad I am.
Lovely. I mean, the true dadness of it is that you didn't let either of them go to waste, no matter how bad they tasted.
Yes.
That's the real dad energy of like, look, we paid for both of these. We're not throwing them away. If you were like, neither of them was good afterwards, but I finished. That's the strong dad energy.
I think the secondary dad energy too is that you didn't do this for a camera, but like did this in whatever your equivalent of a shed is.
Yeah.
This was for you and you alone.
I didn't think that I didn't think it would be appropriate to show a viewing audience. That's very much a private act. Oh man, phrasing. But
if it was truly a private act, none of us would have known about it.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did it just to say I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to do that again.
That's the beauty of doing something once. You've done it.
Yeah.
And you never have to do it again.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
True dad wisdom.
Well, I could not recommend Canada any more highly. Delightful place. I don't know why I don't live there.
You were living it up. You really did the Toronto right.
Man, we got everywhere. I came back from this vacation. I know it's like the joke that I need a vacation for my vacation. I was exhausted.
Oh.
It was a great time. Had a blast. I love Canada. I love Canadians. We had so much fun, but it was nonstop. There was no day that was like, here's our day by the pool. It was Niagara Falls and then straight to Canada's Wonderland. And then getting all around Toronto and Hockey Hall of Fame and Chinatown and Sky Dome and CN Tower and everything.
Did you visit Drake's house?
Drake, we had a falling out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah. I drank a hot dog straw with him and he thought I was classless. He's so judgy.
He is.
He's so judgy.
Which is weird because he started at the bottom.
Right? And now
he's here.
And now we're here. It's fun. So, Canada's Wonderland, just real quick. It is a great amusement park. Those rides are intense.
Ooh.
Oh. I have such a whole new level of appreciation for Disneyland whenever I go to a thrill ride park. Because this park was like nothing but Like it's roller coaster, roller coaster, roller coaster, like big drop ride, roller coaster, roller coaster. It's like and you respect that at Disney. It's like roller coaster, Pirates of the Caribbean. You you want to sit in a boat for 20 minutes? Doesn't that sound nice? Like, and it's barely a boat. It's barely a boat. It's really a love seat that just gently floats past Johnny Depp. Like that's Pirates of the Caribbean now. It's so relaxing. You really forget like how Disneyland has set it up so that you've got an intense ride and then you're on a Ferris wheel. Just like, we're just kind of going in going in a slow circle. It's what your body needs. My body can barely handle this anymore. I can't even tell you. I barely got through the second day. It's the first time I really regretted not having a second child.
What? Really?
To send on the rides with him.
Oh.
That Jen and I could just like watch and be like, here we are, just wave. So one of us got to go on this ride with him. Oh. And the second day she wasn't feeling good, so I did all the rides.
You gotta see. This is why I have to stand in as a proxy for the second Dorval because I love roller coasters.
Oh, where were you?
On the red line.
Oh.
I know.
Oh, we could have used
slowest roller coaster.
The roller coasters there were really good, by the way. There were some excellent coasters. I just couldn't handle so many. Like, just give me 2 or 3, and then I'm done. Like, that's what these bones can handle now. And I want a roller coaster, too, that does not go upside down. I'm okay with the lap belt. The harness makes me feel claustrophobic now.
But the loop-de-loops are the best part.
Beg to differ.
Oh. That's the best part.
It's got some strong Bond energy. When they really lock the harness in, greetings, Mr. Bond, and something's going to happen.
Yes.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
You think you're about to get beaten by thick, knotted ropes?
Mm-hmm. That was the weirdest scene in any James Bond.
What are we referencing? Because I haven't seen any of the Bond films.
Oh my! Never?
No, I've seen clips. I've seen footage. I saw footage of a man run across some crocodiles.
I'm sorry. Your dad card is on a probationary statute.
Oh.
I would love to, but I mean, Dave, disagree with me if you need to, but no Bond movies. That's some non-dad energy.
It seems like you should have just stumbled into it. I mean, just late at night, ironing
just accidentally. Like one family member on Thanksgiving being like, "All right, Dr. No."
No, it never happened. My mom has seen all the Bond movies, but I haven't.
Yeah, because Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's allegedly my father. Well, okay, we won't get into that. But no, I haven't seen any.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So in Casino Royale, when Daniel Patrick took it over, so James Bond has this long history of like the villains putting him in these elaborate things that will kill him and then he escapes them. And Casino Royale was really noteworthy because there's this one scene where he just ties him to a chair naked and cuts a hole in the bottom of the chair and has a thick knotted rope and just keeps swinging it up there. And that's his like torture scene. We went from like the like Austin Powers spoof of sharks with frickin' lasers, and suddenly it's just this scene of like it's very weird.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
You could
It's
see
a
why
scene.
You could see why Daniel Craig was like, you know what? I'd like to join a franchise where I just have to talk in a funny accent for a few hours.
And 14 years later, he's there.
Which franchise are we referencing now? I'm lost. The
Knives Out.
What?
Knives Out.
Oh, that. Yeah.
And Knives Out 2 is coming out. And the three of us are the only ones not in it.
I had a scheduling conflict, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a sweater in time. I couldn't find a nice thick wool sweater.
It is a good sweater. That Irish fisherman sweater. Strong sweater.
So good.
Yeah. So good. Also good. This week's episode of Cheers. We need to put like a little thing on the bottom. We get to Cheers at the 15:23 mark. Anyway, season 4, episode 20, Save the Last Dance. This is a very much, we need an episode before we get to the episode that resolves this season. Heidi, write something for Rhea. And Heidi did it. It's, as much as I'm like, all right, not much happens in this episode, but I enjoy it. It's a Heidi Perlman episode that brings Dan Hedaya back. What more are you looking for? Nick's there, Loretta's there. The world doesn't change, but it's a little bit happier. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Dave, what was going on in the world when Heidi brought Dan and Carla back together briefly?
February 27th, 1987, and this day marks the last day of Donald Reagan's status as President Reagan's chief of staff. Reagan had previously been the Secretary of the Treasury, which led to a lot of confusions to like a young me looking at a dollar and seeing Donald Reagan's signature on the dollar bill and wondering why the president was signing his name Donald and not Ronald. And my parents could never suitably explain that to me. Anyway, he did this weird job switch, this weird cabinet switch with James Baker. Baker became Treasury Secretary. Reagan became Reagan's chief of staff. This is one thing we've never talked about through this season. Iran-Contra is ongoing. This is the hearings are about, the congressional hearings are about to start or have just started, I think. But the stuff is all coming out, and that's kind of how Reagan resigns. He's viewed as not doing enough to shield the president from all of this, from the stuff that he was certainly aware of. And we also have Don Regan to thank. He published one of the first political tell-all biographies the following year, where we find out about Nancy Reagan's consultation with an astrologer. So an interesting career for Donald Regan, who served his last day in the abhorrent Reagan White House on this day, February 27th, 1987.
Does the book go into detail about Nancy Reagan's okay.
No,
maybe that's not family friendly.
It's purely about his their time in the White House and how much they hated each other and how happy he is to kind of like share the dirt that the First Lady was consulting an astrologer for important policy decisions, while Donald Regan, noted Southern gentleman, was forced out of the White House.
Yeah, no reference to the talents.
Okay.
Yeah, no reference. Okay. All right, Tookie, can you tell us about the cold open, please?
I can. It was a short, well, not necessarily short. It was short and sweet in concept, but it was a whole lot of monologue. Whole lot of monologue. Okay, so we enter into the bar, and Diane's wiping down a table. Woody passes by, and he's like, "Oh, Miss Chambers, can I ask you something? You're a girl, right?" And she says, "Well, I'm a woman." Woody says, "Close enough." And he says, "Well, you see, in about 5 minutes, I'm going out on my first date with a city girl. And I'm really nervous about it. I'm afraid I might get tongue-tied and make a fool of myself. So I don't want that getting in the way of me picking up babes." To which Diane replies, "Oh, and to Woody, after only a few months here at Cheers, you're already starting to talk like that other reprobate." And he says, "Oh, well, thanks, Chambers," thinking that's a compliment. And he says, but that's not enough. I want to be smooth with the ladies like Sam. And so Diane says, "Well, I think I can help you out with that. Have a seat." And so Woody takes a seat at the top of the bar. And she says, "A good conversationalist is usually a good listener. I found that, oh my God, this whole, I mean, Diane just bloviates. She goes on and on and on and on. Shall I read the whole monologue?
Yeah.
Nah.
Nah.
Nah. She goes on and on and on and on about herself. She started reading the New York Times at age 4, but then moved on to the classics and was ostracized by her classmates and blah blah blah. But people, all to say that people love to talk about themselves and get lost in their own world. But she finds that there are far more interesting topics and blah da 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 da. So Woody's like looking at his watch, like, I'm gonna be late for this date. So as Diane's off in the corner doing business, to get cream for the coffees that she's making, Cliff walks into the bar, and Cliff takes the seat where Woody was, and Diane, not noticing at all, just blah 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 blah, going on and on about herself, turns around and she says, I just had hardships in the classroom. Anyway, Clifford, what was your question again? And Cliff is just confused because he has no idea how this started. Roll credits. It was a lot.
I loved this cold open. I thought it was great. I genuinely laughed at it. I thought it was, Woody was really funny, very essence of Woody, and also the essence of Diane and why Diane and Sam keep finding each other again. Because one of the connections, aside from their physical attraction, that they never acknowledge is that they are both endlessly fascinated by themselves. And they find that in each other. And yeah, it's a great little scene, and I enjoyed it very much. All right. We only have an A story this week on Save the Last Dance. It is the Boston Boppers reunion, which is apparently a local take on the old show American Bandstand, and really made me nostalgic for the old days of UHF stations doing local shit. Very, very fun, and doesn't really exist that way anymore. So Carla's coming in and she's talking about how they're having a reunion of the Boston Boppers, which she used to dance on with Nick, and just a million jokes about her being young and pregnant, but just alighting quickly enough that it's not too sad. And it's fun. And then there's a contest that's going to be coming up at the reunion. The winner gets $500 and a trip to Hawaii. She wants to dance with Nick. She can't dance with Nick. She gets them to get in touch with Nick for her. Nick and Loretta come up. They are going to dance together, and then Nick says that he carried the team. Carla believes that she carried the two of them. Nick is offended and decides that he's going to dance with Loretta, and Carla decides that she's going to dance with Eddie Siznik. And then one of the great line readings in history where Dan Hedaya says, Eddie Siznik, the Polish Prancer. And it was really great. The Polish Prancer, Eddie Siznik, comes. We don't actually get to see him dancing. He's dancing at the top of the stairs. He is played by stuntman Nick Dimitri, who actually does the fall down the steps when his shoe is untied. So he plays the part and does the stunt where he falls down the steps. He is injured, can't dance with Carla. Taken away. No one else can dance with Carla. So this is weird. Then Diane says to Sam, why aren't you saying that you dance? You're a wonderful dancer. No. This very heavy homophobic section with Sam where it's like, this show is all about men dancing with women. Is he really? It feels a little dragged in, kicking and screaming where, let's just write some jokes about, Sam feeling uncomfortable. It feels like a weird, let's just squeeze some gay jokes in here. That was a little disappointing. Just because I don't know. I feel like I know Sam is always worried about his image and how people are going to view him, but it feels like he might not want to talk about ballroom dancing, but I don't know that he would really have a problem with people knowing that he could dance to 50s music. I mean, that's what the kids did in the 50s. Like, you went to sock hops and you did all this stuff. So anyway, that was a moment that stood out in the show for me with, like, what are we doing?
It's funny, too, because...
It's okay, I'm back.
Oh, good.
I thought I had it on... I thought I had it on silent.
Phew.
I do have it on silent. What the hell?
But one of the defining characteristics, I think, of Ted Danson, the performer, like that people talk about all the time, is his kind of innate physical gracefulness, and it's really weird to watch Sam Malone like push verbally specifically back against that when you know that's like part of the allure of this person, of both the actor and the character, I think.
Yeah. Although, just to call this out early, Sam really only has that one move.
Yeah.
You know, I supported the judges tapping them and eliminating them. Well, you're not doing enough here. So they are going to dance. They're at the Boston Boppers. So they remove the bar. They move in the Boston Boppers set. The studio audience for Cheers becomes the studio audience for the Boston Boppers. A little bit of trivia. And fun. They interview everybody. The contest begins. Another couple wins. And then Nick refuses to accept the results because his partner stank. He decides that he is going to dance with Carla, and my joke of the week is just this whole dance between the two of them. It's perfect. It is the perfect balance of somehow everyone thinks they're wonderful while they're actually sort of ridiculously bad, but pulling it off perfectly. I really would love to know who choreographed this. I could not find that anywhere. I would love to know who, because it was all just the right choices of here's how much you do. This is a move that they will think is great, that everyone else will think is great, but is actually hysterical. They win the contest. They come back. They celebrate. Carla's alone in the bar. Nick comes in, says he's having feelings for her again, wants her to come to Hawaii. It's a big moment. She's tempted. She's feeling it. What about Loretta? She's waiting for us at the airport. And my question is this the first example of polyamory in sitcoms? Just throwing it out there. So that's our episode. There's a lot of interesting stuff in this episode. I genuinely laughed. I love when Nick is back. I think Jean Kasem as Loretta is hysterical. The scene where she talks about not liking it very much made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Again, where it's like, oh, what is poor Loretta's life?
I know. Do you have a van? Was one of the darkest joke questions I feel like I've ever heard.
I feel like, so obviously when we think van now, we are kids of the 80s and we very much think panel vans and terrible things happening. I feel like that was more a 70s sexy van reference.
Oh, absolutely. But
yes,
like the fact that like that she's looking at a van as like, all right, well this might be as good as it. You know, I don't like to do this, but if we're going to do this, let's at least do this in a van.
Yeah. Oh, Tookie. The 70s were a magical time for vans. There's never been a bigger turn for any vehicle than vans from the 70s to the 80s. My God. In the 70s, the van was the coolest of cool vehicles. The dune buggy could not even approach the coolness of a great conversion van.
Really? Dune buggies are so cool.
Oh, yeah. They had the great windows on the side. There was velvet in there. There was plush carpeting. There were couches that converted into comfy beds. It was a magnificent time. Everyone on TV traveled in a great van. And then suddenly in like January 1st, 1980, every van became windowless and white and terrifying.
Okay, all that velvet sounds like an asthmatic's nightmare to me.
You got to clean the van. You got to clean the van.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the good thing is, the doors are always getting open, so they're always getting aired out.
But
I guess
there's some heavy van funk in there.
Ooh.
Look,
I've never known a van to not be menacing unless it's a Dodge Caravan.
That's what I'm saying. That was the 70s to 80s van conversion.
Or what was that? The Plymouth? What was the Plymouth van?
The Plymouth Caravan.
No, that's the Dodge. But
it was the Dodge Caravan. Plymouth, actually, the Plymouth Voyager. Was the very first one, the Plymouth Voyager.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Dodge Caravan and the Chrysler Town and Country.
Yeah. And then the Toyota Sienna.
But Tookie, I can't even tell you. The 70s van was a completely different vehicle.
That is
This-
horrifying.
Mhm.
No,
For,
see, I can't take anything from the 70s very seriously. You know how much look people were you know how much lead was in the water? Like that's why all the murders happened because because people weren't in their right mind that whole decade.
But nothing caught on fire.
Yeah, this is true.
A lot of lead, a lot of asbestos, but none of us burned.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
Couple blackouts, but no fires, yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on this week's episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
It's like the least of the Tortelli episodes so far,
Mhm.
but it's still. I mean, like every Nick episode so far has kind of followed the same kind of template. Like Nick shows up, Carla hates him, they almost get back together, and then they don't. Like I feel like there's kind of like the least amount of Nick and Loretta language in this one because there's so much given over to the dancing. Yeah, it does absolutely nothing, but it's a perfectly fine episode of TV.
It's a very February 27th episode of TV.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I see that.
Yeah. It's right there. It's not sweeps yet. We got to save the big stuff for April and May, but you're going to enjoy this. You're not going out tonight, so just enjoy this.
Yeah, it's 22 degrees out. Iran-Contra is making you doubt your faith in government. This is a perfectly terrific 25 minutes of pure escapism and nostalgia. With I one thing I did like about this episode was like how specific the 50s nostalgia was. You know, the people they reference, like the Lennon sisters and Fabian, and like these are not like the artistic high points of the 50s, but they are definitely like things that that these people would have consumed. You know, they would have been like definite pop culture markers for them. And it feels like maybe this is my 80s moment. I don't know. Like this feels like the last time we can sort of reference Wayne Newton or the Lennon sisters and try to get a laugh on it.
Wayne Newton, I think, has endured. The Lennon
Yeah,
sisters is
right.
not.
Yeah.
Wayne's still Wayne.
Yeah. Even I know about a Wayne Newton, but
Yeah.
the rest.
Wayne's still been there. Yeah, my 80s moment was specifically Fabian, where the 80s, like I was not alive in the 50s, of course, but I got a Fabian reference in the 80s because it was a go-to 50s reference from the 70s and 80s. Fabian was this singer who was kind of notoriously not particularly talented,
Oh.
and just this like heartthrob that got thrown out there. Like his famous song was "Turn Me Loose."
It's the most boring version of that song you'll ever hear. It's
Yeah.
really
Okay.
funny.
He wrote no songs. He didn't have a particularly good voice, but they were just like, "Isn't he cute?" And he became a go-to one-name joke.
So
Yeah.
he was the Jennifer Lopez of his day.
How dare you? How dare you?
I think one of the defining characteristics of Fabian was that he was extraordinarily white.
Yeah.
You know,
Really?
as like Chuck Berry and was starting to gain, you know, a little bit of steam. Like there was, and even like guys like Dion, you know, who definitely carried the sort of like, to use your phrase, spicy white kind of heritage behind him. Fabian was sort of positioned by the record companies as a very safe alternative to everything.
Fabian made Pat Boone look like Quincy Jones.
Whoa. Mind blowing.
Uh-huh.
Because Pat Boone to me is chalk in a suit. Like that is a very white man.
He is. Here's the difference. Pat Boone could sing. Like he was musically talented. You kind of got why people enjoyed Pat Boone. Fabian was just like, did they just get my cousin out here to sing this song?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
bad.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Fabian. Yeah. Yeah. Tookie, you haven't really shared your thoughts about the episode overall. What are you thinking?
It was fine. I'm still waiting for the meat, especially in terms of it being a Tortelli episode. It didn't give us the Tortelli meat that we usually get.
How so?
It just the I just kind of felt like maybe Loretta didn't have enough lines, and everybody was kind of it was thin for a Tortelli episode. They've set a bar for Tortelli outings where it's like I have a certain expectation. I really want to be in the moment and laugh.
Yeah, I'm there. And I laugh, but I hear you. It wasn't as big. It did not reach the Tortelli peaks we're maybe hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can get on board with that.
There was like no Nick explosion. Like the moment when he should have exploded, they kind of zagged, which again is kind of neat. And I agree with you, Mike. It was really funny. Like when we got to like, I want to show you what dancing is. I was like, oh, we're gonna get like a really up tempo. These two characters are gonna be flinging each other around, and then instead we get Unchained Melody and like a ballad dance. It's really, really funny, but it does kind of like undercut that sort of like manic Tortelli physical energy a little bit.
I'm not used to that character being subdued in that manner. So
I got a kick out of the idea where we were kind of referencing that women can't resist him when he's close to them. That was kind of funny. When it was like, all right, we got to do the ballad because what really is going to win this audience over is our heat.
Absolutely. The blow really kind of like sells it right at the top.
Yeah, that's a pretty magnificent moment.
Well, we were talking about music licensing early, just a minute before we hit record. And I do have to note, I thought it's never not hilarious to me to see, especially a white crowd, dancing and enjoying Tutti Frutti by Little Richard. Because you know what that song's about.
I've heard.
Yeah, the original lyrics.
What are the original lyrics?
About having fun in the back door.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I did not know. I mean, I knew that was what the song was about. I did not know that there were lyrics that made that a bit more clear.
Yeah.
There's an amazing podcast about it's called Cocaine and Rhinestones: The History of Country Music, and its second season focuses pretty much on George Jones, but there's like one whole section on ice boxes and ice cream, and there's like a 15-minute diversion down the path of that song, and specifically like Little Richard, and like that whole like kind of like how it generated and how it became like sort of co-opted into the ice cream flavor of the day. It's great. I fully recommend this podcast for all these kind of amazing historical sidetracks, including the lyrical history of Tutti Frutti.
Nice. Yeah. All right, Dave, what's your joke of the week?
My joke of the week. I'm gonna go with Wayne Newman. That made me laugh the hardest. The Lemon Sisters was kind of funny. And then like he says, it's not Nick, of course, in his talent, in his new role as a talent representative, says I have other acts too. I also represent Wayne Newman. It got me. I really loved it. So I'll give it to Wayne Newman.
Nice. Tookie, your joke of the week.
I didn't have one. It was just vibes this week. It was just vibes.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Alas.
Not one joke made you laugh out loud?
I didn't get enough Loretta. I didn't get enough Woody. There was stuff that stood out to me. I was like, huh. I think I was just more taken by like the stuff I'd never heard before, rather than laughing at it, because a lot of it went over my head. I don't know what a Fabian is.
Yeah.
Or the Lennon sisters, or I know a Wayne Newton, but that's about it.
You know Wayne.
Yeah.
All right. Tookie, how white was this week's episode?
Alas. Okay. So, in the cold open, only one black man by the piano. Scene 1, a black woman who is behind Carla, 2 Asian women. This is a first. A second. We've had 2 Asian women in the same scene before. I'm sorry. 2 Asian women behind Woody. a black man who passed behind the bar and a black man at the bar with glasses. In scene 2, a black woman who passed behind Cliff, a black man who entered behind Nick, a black man by the office door in like a really sharp plaid blazer, I gotta say. A black man behind Norm's dad. Who is that character's name? Because we know it's George Wendt's dad, but
Al Rosen.
Al Rosen,
The actor.
Yeah.
Or the character.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember the character's name, but
I think it's just Al.
Just Al. Okay. So a black man behind Al, who's talking to a black woman by the jukebox, and who's a repeat extra. The man is a repeat extra from the previous scene, and another repeat extra with the same black man at the bar who's sitting to the left of Al. Scene 3, a black EMT, woo, who with no lines, just an appropriate glare at Cliff, and then
the cervical collar on that knee was pretty fun.
That's one of the things that stood out to me because I was like, I have one of those and that's incorrect. You don't put a collar on that. And more reused extras in scene 3, scene 4, and going forward at the Boston Boppers and then at the end of the bar, only one black couple and an Asian woman. So all in all, without the reused extras, 13, with the reused extras, 20. A little bit of a downslide. Not loving it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how can you fit a lot of people of color into an episode about dancing? You know what I'm saying? All right. Dave, your 80s thing of the week.
I'll go with the idea.
But you kind of did your 80s thing, yeah.
I have a second one, like with the idea of like this reunion show, the Boston Boppers reunion. Like I was thinking about like that was kind of like a funny thing in the 80s. There was like all of this kind of like these reunions for like the first generation of television kids. I was thinking like there was like the Gidget reboot kind of happened around that time. There was Back to the Beach with Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello. There was all these kind of like these like kind of reunions of the original people who showed up on TV, and a lot of the times those were like they were more local affairs like Boston Boppers, and sometimes they were more national like Annette and Frankie. But I'll go with like the reunion of TV original performers.
If you've never seen Back to the Beach, funny. It's a good spoof of Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon come back and they do a movie where they're married like 20 years later, and they sort of spoof all the beach movies they did. Yeah, I remember thinking it was funny. Yeah. Took your 80s moments.
Did you do yours, Mike?
I did. Fabian being a good for 50s heartthrobs.
So I think along the same lines as you guys, just the 50s being nostalgia time, but also they kind of did that with Happy Days. But looking back at the 50s within that bracket of time between the 70s and 80s was sort of the thing to do. Things that leapt out at me. 3 things that leapt out, but not necessarily 80s. $500 is about $1,300 in today's money. 609 is an area code for Southern New Jersey, specifically around Trenton. That's part of Nick's phone number. And yes, cervical collar. That's not no, Cliff, no. Cliff has clearly never been with a woman. So 80s.
Wait a minute. Where are we putting that collar? Hang on. Am I misunderstanding cervical?
That's not how any of that works.
Isn't there cervical?
It's around your neck.
Cervical spine, though. Like
cervical spine. That's it. Oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not an X.
Okay. I still stand by the assertion that Cliff has never been with a woman.
Total fincel.
No, I'll give Cliff all the grief he deserves. I believe the joke is the cervical collar goes around your neck and not your knee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, you spent 2 weeks thinking that that's where that collar went.
Are you gonna be okay?
I'm so taken aback by like realizing that that's what you meant.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, no, the joke is that it goes around your neck and not your knee, and then you mentioned that, and now I'm like, where would that collar go?
Not where either of us did.
There you go.
He agrees.
I'm okay.
Okay. So yes, the thing that jumped out at me as specifically 80s, a Life magazine reference. And not just specifically the Lennon sisters or Fabian, but knockoff bands, I think, were a thing that began around that era in general, because you would have like cover bands, like instead of the Temptations, it'd be like the Desires or something. So knockoff bands as a concept. And then we talked about Sam being worried about being too graceful. That feels very, very kind of 80s. Baryshnikov references. And Carla's bopper outfit, that dress.
Strong.
The massive polka dots in the center with the big poofy frills that are also dot with the matching black polka dot tights. My God.
Yeah, when Carla does black and red, you know Carla is the focus of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was that whole ensemble was quite 80s. Yeah.
All right. All right. I think we're getting ready to put episode 420. Nice. Books.
Oh, can we shout out the actor Hal Landon Jr., who played Floyd Panjeric, the MC of the dance contest. Best known, perhaps, for his role as Keanu Reeves' dad in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Was that him?
That's him.
Wow.
Just about to try to send Ted to military school.
Huh. I watched that movie under duress. Good time.
But it's fun, right? No?
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. It took a while for me to get into it, but I got into it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves like each other, and I feel like that sort of makes all those movies basically function, even when they sort of creak along.
It's true. I mean, that's why they did the third one. Like, they've stayed friends, and Keanu was like, yeah, let's do another one.
That movie was the epitome of early pandemic. I just want to watch something nice.
Yeah.
Was it pre or post Joe Exotic?
It might have been concurrent.
Oh boy.
Right around that time, yeah.
Yeah. Because there were definite phases of the pandemic. We had the Tiger King phase. We had the sourdough phase. Are we still sort of in the Wordle phase?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in it, but I feel like we're as a nation, we're sort of like just crawling out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is right around the time where like we were still like Zooming and doing crosswords, and yeah. That was fun. I enjoyed when we were doing crosswords.
I still do I've got a strong streak going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Okay.
We were doing a crossword communally every night. My friend, our friend Dylan would post a picture of it in our group chat, and then we would all contribute to it, and he would periodically update it. It was such a dumb way to do a crossword, and it was really, really fun.
This is the streak for our viewers at home. 1465.
Nice. I'm at 586.
Nice. Good stuff. Yeah, 586.
Streak or your Wordle streak?
That's my crossword streak.
Okay.
Solid.
Nice. All right. Do we have anything to plug this week, kids?
Do we? That's a great question. What are we plugging? Oh, I'm at City Winery on Friday. That's fun.
Definitely something to plug.
Yeah. catch the wine and laughs at City Winery.
There you go. Go out, catch them. Dave?
Nothing this week. No, nothing.
Okay. I don't think I have anything. And that's life. That's what we do. All right, so get out to City Winery and you can see Tookie. We got a big episode next week where we start hurtling towards the finale of season 4. They're getting on the plane. It's a big, big moment. For Tookie, for Dave, I'm Mike. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.